Welcome to r/Malicious Compliance, where we share stories of people conforming to the letter, but not the spirit of a request. And today we have 3 great stories. So subscribe, hit the like button, and let's begin. The first story. When forced to rely on unreliable rural internet for remote work, a worker's persistent requests inadvertently led to the restoration of their remote access for better productivity. The second story. Employee exploits a loophole in the company's health spending program to score expensive sunglasses and dental work before quitting. The third story. To expedite her food order, the customer opted for a refund and then reordered her meal. Today's first story is: was told it was not a business necessity and that I was wasting resources. Did exactly as they told me to. Chaos ensues. As with a lot of people during these times, I've been working from home. I also recently purchased a new home, and the internet where I work is not as reliable as my previous place. Rural satellite internet versus city cable. This mainly comes into play because I also started a new role at the start of the year supporting our company's Amazon sales team. I was a salesperson for a few years, but have an analytical background and have worked in marketing, so I was a good fit for this role. It was also a new role that my boss specifically requested the budgeting and payroll for in order to have me take the role, as I also pride myself on being a problem solver. If there is an issue, it bugs the heck out of me and I will do my best to get it resolved. If it keeps coming up, I try to figure out why and work to improve the workflow to make it better. For a growing company, I was what my boss needed: sales experience, marketing experience, data and analytical background. Pretty much a one-stop shop for a second in charge to help alleviate all the work he's been having to handle almost single-handedly, as we've grown and Amazon has become our biggest customer. This all comes into play as recently Amazon has been having to get updated safety and compliance documentation for everything on their site. In any given year prior to this, we would get maybe 20 to 40 requests in a year. We submitted everything for new products as they were set up, but haven't had to actively maintain the documents. Once they were submitted, we were good. Well, this year, due to some lawsuits, Amazon is requiring update forms for everything. Okay, we were originally given 3 months to have 600 plus items done. Okay, big job. Boss handed it to me. I worked with our compliance manager, managed to hit the deadline. Job done. No, they wanted update forms for discontinued products. Okay, they have no inventory and we don't either. But whatever. 3 weeks for this deadline, managed to make it. Okay, done. No. Some of the documents were outdated. Of course, we last produced these over a decade ago, and they wanted updated forms. No products to test, told them so. Okay, done. No, their upper management spoke to our upper management and we found out we were specifically a point of issue for them. We're not the biggest company in our field by a long shot, so the fact that upper management at Amazon noticed us is a big deal. Okay, 3 days to hit the next deadline. Nearly killed myself, but made it. Done. No, that brings us to now. With all this, you may be thinking that the malicious compliance was against Amazon, but it wasn't. They're just trying to cover their butt, so I get it. It sucks as I have other projects during this time of the year, but whatever. No, the malicious compliance comes into play with a new coworker of ours. As we've grown, we've been getting more experienced people into director and VP roles who come from outside our company. Cool, we're attracting highly qualified people who know their stuff. Great. Also of note, our company compliance manager just turned in his notice as he sort of grew into his role, but it was never his intention to do this for a decade plus. Good guy, genuinely like him. It was clear that he was getting overwhelmed, and as time went on, the organization system he was using for files in our shared databases was getting outdated. I've had to get to the point that I had to go find the files and answers I needed without asking him, as he was taking longer and longer to respond, since other companies were needing these types of files and answers besides just Amazon. Okay, I'm a problem solver. I can do this. The rural internet thing comes into play as the deadline got shorter. Currently, we're not allowed into our building without giving our health compliance people a 24-hour notice. Some of these requests I don't know what I need until late at night. I realize our office Wi-Fi reaches the parking lot, so I would go late at night and sit in my car to download the files I need. Perfect go-round. Due to various personal reasons, I can only really do this at night. So during the day, I have to rely on my questionable internet connection to connect to the system I need to look up some various information. Okay, on to the malicious compliance. Our new ops director is in the process of preparing to sunset our current operations software that's a decade past, when it should have been replaced. We're planning to go live with our new cloud-based ops software at the start of the year. I've checked it out and it'll be great once it's there. However, I still need to use the old software. If I sit in the parking lot, I can access it as on-site with no issue and it works great. But I can't sit out in my car for 8 hours, nor can I do it in the middle of the day. So during the day, I have to remote access it, and it's janky and slow as all get out. For context, the entire time it's taken me to type this has been as long as it's taken for a single click in the system to show the next prompt. Okay, it literally just showed the next one for context. So Ops Director is limiting the remote access as we're preparing to sunset the system. He sent out an email to tell everyone. Okay, I let him know my situation and that I need to keep the remote access or I'll have to bug the compliance manager nonstop, and he's already overwhelmed. Not long after his reply that I will just have to manage through is when the compliance manager turned in his notice. So Ops Director is next in line for me to have to reach out to. I again asked that he keep me with remote access or this will be a huge time suck for him and he has better things to do. Nope, just gonna have to bug him. I warned him that as these deadlines are getting closer, it will be a lot, and the requests come in at all hours of the day. He said it'll be no big issue. Compliance Manager left last week. I tried to keep it to emails at first, but then I had to start using IM. Then I had to Zoom call him. Then it got to the point it was late at night and I had to text. Not only just the initial requests, but depending on what he found, I would have to reply for a follow-up question. I went back and counted it. In 7 days, I emailed him 58 times with multiple requests in each email. Zoom called him 36 times, IM'd him 212 times, and texted him 148 times between 7 p.m. and 6 a.m. on Saturday and Sunday evenings and mornings. I received an email earlier this morning that they're restoring my remote access, and will keep it active through the launch of the replacement system. The next story is, the future's so bright I gotta wear shades. I worked up north in oil and gas doing site facility maintenance, and I started the job when the boom was happening, but we soon started down the backside and cuts were made. In order to cut costs, they cut our overtime, our hours, took away our flights because it was fly in and fly out, and generally made life miserable. I could see the writing on the wall and I was an unticketed carpenter, so I decided to go back to school and get my JM papers. Before I went on my school break, we got a new journeyman, and he asked us how we can live on X amount of wages and pay for our flights as well. We told him that our wages are X plus 10. The company was paying new hires about $10 an hour less than us, which explained why they were trying to get people to quit, so that they could replace them with cheaper labor. I had arrangements to do third and fourth year altogether, but as my school date was coming up, they started talking about putting off my year 4, effing me around. It took me over a year waiting to get into that class, so I wasn't going to put it off. I decided to quit if they effed me, but I didn't tell them. So this is near the end of the calendar year, and school was November-December for year 3 and January-February for year 4. The first thing that I did was to schedule 100% of my dental benefits for December, me and my 2 kids. I also scheduled whatever else we could do dentally for the new year, early January. We also had a Visa account that was $1,000 per year for health spending. You could use it at the dentist for whatever wasn't covered, pharmacy, optometrist, those kinds of things. So I went to Joe's Optometry and bought some sweet glasses for reading that had a picture of a horse with a guy with a stick and a little ball on it. I also got every bell and whistle for the lenses. Perfect customer. But that's not the compliance. The salesperson, bless her soul, offered me sunglasses and I said I couldn't do that, it's only for health. She told me the insurance company doesn't get itemized receipts. They just see Joe's Optical for X amount of dollars. Oh yeah, I'm in with some sweet Ray-Bans with 2 pairs of polarized lenses. No problem. So the company I worked for had a bunch of contracts and there were about 800 employees in total. I'd say about 60% of them were single male, about 10% females and the rest married guys. We had a junior Sparky who's all about bling, so I told him he can go to the optometrist with his card and get sunglasses. I told everyone on our shift, F them, free sunglasses. And waited, and nothing happened. I was expecting everyone to be sending messages thanking me for the loophole, but nothing. So I showed my Sparky the receipt and my Visa card number to prove that I had done it. Next day, I see him on Facebook with a new pair of sunglasses saying that he had also ordered some limited edition Ferrari sunglasses from his local optometrist. Initially, he didn't believe me, but now he's all in. I picked the Sparky because he was about bling, but he also was with the company since day one, and he knew absolutely everyone, including people on the other job sites. 800 people. Back to me. Because of the turnaround schedule, I was scheduled to go back to work somewhere around January 10th after they had unilaterally changed the deal. In school, we weren't allowed to miss days, so my kids and I had all of our dental work done in the Christmas break on the January side. Lucky for me. I also asked the dentist if I could pay it forward and pay for 2 cleaning sessions sometime in the next year. I used our Visa health card. What was left, I went back to the optometrist and I got 2 more pairs of sunglasses. I used up my Visa card and my yearly dental allowance in the first week of January. I officially quit the day before they forced me back to work. As far as fallout, well, I can just imagine the insurance company. Middle of December, boss says to salesman, "Good job on the Visa health accounts. X company has used 10% of their $1,000, so it's going to be a nice bonus for you." January rolls around and in the last 2 weeks of December, X company has bought $500,000 worth of optometry. No bonus. My coworkers told me middle of January there was a company-wide meeting about sweeping changes to the benefits program. They were changing companies to become more streamlined, and the benefits naturally were sharply decreased. The Visa health card vanished. I finished school in the top 3 and happily had $10,000 worth of dental and $2,000 worth of sunglasses, and glasses paid for in the last week of December and first week of January. Not only do I wear my sunglasses at night, but the future's so bright I gotta wear shades. The third story is, this is definitely not the fastest way to get your food. Also, nobody's on your side. I worked as a cashier at a semi-upscale burger joint for about a year not too long ago. Locally sourced ingredients hiked the prices up, but ultimately great food. A lot of very nice loyal customers that I built relationships with. The manager was always phenomenal, always super nice to employees and customers alike. Always had my back, probably my best work experience yet. Now, while there were plenty of very kind and courteous regulars, there's always a few bad apples. That brings me to this small, shrewish woman I will refer to as E. E had a history of yelling at employees even before my time working there. What makes it especially bad is that we had an open kitchen, meaning all the cooks had only a wooden counter between them and the customers. This had to have been one of the busiest days I've ever worked in this place. Line out the door, 1 cashier, huge crowd of customers waiting for takeout orders, 3 to 4 feet of tickets backed up in the kitchen printers, and we were understaffed. This is when E shows up about halfway through the big rush. I take her order same as always, and I was known for being especially fast on the register, so no complaints could be made at this point. In the midst of taking orders from a non-stop stream of customers, I can hear the very familiar voice of E complaining about the wait time for her food to my general manager, GM, probably about 15 minutes at this point, but she claimed closer to 30. A reasonable time during a normal rush, but definitely not today. So E rushes over to the register, where I'm in the middle of taking an order, line still out the door, and demands a refund as she has someplace to be and this is unacceptable. I apologize to my current customer, and after explaining that the wait time wouldn't be much longer, refund E as I'm aware of her temper. Now, I expected E to just leave, but lo and behold, a few minutes later she rushed the register once again, demanding to put in her order again, thinking this would somehow expedite the process of her getting her food. The kitchen already scrapped her ticket after I refunded her, so the look on her face when she found out that her ticket was now back at the bottom of our list. What ensued was E screaming at my GM, who at first was trying to appease her but now was just laughing. Other customers at this point had come to aid my GM by heckling E. Another 10 to 15 minutes go by and E returns to my register for yet another refund, when wait, it seems E's food is done, moved up the list to get her out of the effing building. The scene of my manager running her bag up to me while other customers yelled, "Throw it out!" repeatedly will forever be a fond memory. We laughed about it for weeks after the fact. Hit the like button to support the channel and subscribe. Have a good day.